Hey guys, and welcome to Mangotology. If you're new here, thank you for joining me. My name is Steven Mango, and I'm an ex-Scientologist that works here on YouTube to expose Scientology. So if you want to stay up to date on all my latest videos, please make sure to go down below, click on that subscribe button, as well as the bell icon right next to it so you stay notified on all my videos that I make on Scientology. Now today I wanted to discuss with you if Leah Remini is inciting hate against Scientology and Scientologists given her series Scientology in the Aftermath on the A&E network, as well as her activism being a big television and movie celebrity. And you may be wondering, why are you making a video on this subject? Aren't you a critic against Scientology? And what is this whole video even going to be about? So Scientology has these different hate websites, as we all know, against Leah, other castmates that have been on her show, which are usually people who have spoken out against Scientology being an ex-member, but there are also people who are different, like therapists or cult experts, people in, say, like the Clearwater community, and other people who have appeared on her television show and have spoken out against Scientology. Now, these people are very much risking their lives, and I don't really mean that lightly. They really are going to go up against this criminal cult enterprise, and as we all know, there is a policy in Scientology called fair game, where you can be sued, slandered, attacked, lied to, anything in order to discredit the ex-Scientologist or the critic of Scientology to the betterment of Scientology, so Scientology can continue on. It doesn't matter if the person is a Catholic saint or a nun. Scientology will even sometimes invent that maybe they were involved in some sort of sex crimes or criminal behavior or other sort of activity that they can then say, hey, even though the person's truthful, this nun could be going up on there and say Scientology has done XYZ, all these horrible activities to me, the community, or just in general to other Scientologists. It doesn't matter how truthful and credible the person could have it on video. It doesn't matter. Scientology knows that, and they know that people are going to say, believe that person. So in order to get that person to stop speaking out or to scare them or to intimidate them, whatever, Scientology is going to go and attack them in any way possible, shape, or form, because they're going to find out what is that one thing that is really important to you. And you may say like, oh, I love my car. Like, I don't know what it is, but whatever it would be for that person, they'll go and blow up the car. They'll slash the tires. They'll do things because that's the one thing that you hold near and dear to your heart. So it could be your child, it could be your spouse, like it doesn't really necessarily matter. Scientology will go and attack that source to stop you from speaking out or to just discredit you. They'll put up a blog, a hate website, and they'll say, Sister Mary is a horrible person. She moonlights as an escort, like whatever. They'll just come up with different stories to ruin these people's names. So Scientology is very dangerous to go up against first and foremost. I am not intimidated by Scientology, guys. I live near Scientology. I've been involved with so many Scientologists over the years. I've had involvement with Scientology since 2009, and these guys don't scare me. I don't care what powers that people believe they have, and they do. They are very capable of a lot of criminal activity, but on the other hand, if we all get scared, if people like me just stop speaking out because we don't want to make a buzz about Scientology, then what are they going to do? They're going to continue to grow because we're giving them the power to believe that they're all-encompassing and they can go and attack people and so on and so forth. Now, in terms of this idea of Leah's show inciting hate against Scientologists, I believe that Scientology is saying that because they need to, again, play the victim. If they act as if they're just like any other church, and they're not, and Scientology is trying to do this, they're trying to act like they are the Catholic Church or they're a Jewish synagogue or anything that may be more considered a legitimate religion. When I'm saying legitimate religion, I mean separate from the cult aspects of Scientology. Some may say all religions are cults, whatever. A lot of people ask me, are you an atheist? I am not an atheist. There's a lot of ex-Scientologists that leave Scientology and go, I'm an atheist. I think very critically about religion and it's all a scam, whatever. And it's like, you were involved in Scientology probably for like, what, 40 years? Some of these people, you know what I mean? It's like you clearly believed in religion for so long. And yes, people can change their views, their minds, their belief systems. There's no shade or hate about that, but it's like you weren't critically thinking for all that other period of time. So why now all of a sudden are you billing yourself as like an expert on religion? I don't know. It's just a little weird to me about sometimes when people do that. But I got into Scientology, say myself, because I was such a spiritual person and I was so religious, even though I didn't necessarily fit in with, like, say, the Catholic Church or different other religious groups. I always knew I was spiritual and I was a spiritual being, and like my nature was elevated spiritually, if that makes any sense. I knew I was different than just like even people, it's not just people my age, but just people in general. Like sometimes I meet people and they're just so exactly like what they are. Like they're just a person. Like they just are like so unaware of their spiritual nature. It's almost just like they think that they're just this animal that wakes up, they go to their job, they collect money, you know, they eat dinner and they go to bed, and like that's their life and that's what they're like comfortable with. But for me, I always felt like I'm this like spiritual person that's meant to be here to take over our world, and not like L. Ron Hubbard did, like taking over people's minds or something, but like I want to be able to make such a difference and an impact, and I want to help people, and I want to help people who are homeless, poor, whatever. But besides all of that, I also just felt like I could, you know, achieve that through spiritual works and through belief in a higher power of some type of sort. And a lot of people believe in science and believe in more like concrete sort of stuff, but I always worked on more of a spiritual plane of things. And I know that some people, I couldn't fit in with them, I couldn't talk to them because I just felt like they were so basic and superficial. And maybe that was my form of narcissism to some degree. It could be some sort of delusion of grandeur on my behalf. I'm not really sure. I still haven't figured that out. I don't believe I'm better than people, but I just felt like I was more in tune with feelings and people. Like I could know when someone's gonna call me from like 5,000 miles away or thinking about me, even if the person, like someone just recently added me on Facebook. I haven't seen this person like 15 years, but I was thinking about them the other day, and I like, this is not a person I would ever like would come through my mind. Like I forgot they even existed, you know. So that sort of stuff, like I always felt like I knew people's thoughts. Like even if someone's like, I'm okay, I'm like, no, like you went through something today, like tell me about it. Like I was always like that type of person. That's why I felt like I fit in Scientology in the beginning, because they also seemed like people that were more in tune with their powers and spiritual thing and intuitive nature and empathy. And I sometimes, like I was saying, meet people that are just people, surface level, that are just like, okay, so today this is all today is. I'm like, why don't you want to like save the world like I do? And I guess there's some people like me that are like that, and you know, there's some other people that are not, I guess. And I don't know, I just usually fit in the spiritual community. Getting back on track, I know, guys, I sometimes go off track, and this is more like my video diary sometimes, where I'm just expressing myself. I have an idea in mind for a video, but thoughts come in, and I feel like you guys can benefit from listening to this as getting inside the mind of an ex-Scientologist. So bear with me sometimes when I ramble. I promise I'm not going to go off track now. So with Leah's stuff, they believe that, you know, because they're also a religion, Leah's almost like attacking religion. She went after the Jehovah's Witnesses once, and because she's coming after these religions, she's almost like a hate crime person, where yes, we're a misunderstood religion in Scientology. And just because Miss Remini is a wannabe, you know, superstar celebrity, she's this D-list television actress, her show ratings tank every week. This is what like they would probably claim, guys, not obviously how I feel. But Scientology is going to come up with whatever that they can come up with to try to say that they're like this small religion that is a new religion that is very misunderstood. And someone like Leah, just because she was a former member doesn't mean now she can go and slander her religion for money, fame, television, power, and trying to get these hate messages of suppressive people out there into the media to try to instill hate and fear and crime against Scientology. Now, there's several different instances where there was criminal sort of things that happened against Scientology that Scientology claims was a result of Leah's show. For example, there was Brandon Dorf, I believe, who Leah had on her television show, who is bipolar or has some type of mental illness. I believe, from my recollection, he threw like a brick through the window of Scientology. They arrested him, and they're saying, oh, Leah's bringing on this criminal onto her show because of, you know, she's trying to create her own narrative, right? So I don't think that's right to do. Obviously not. Like, that's, again, there are people, just like, I'm going to be doing a video on it in terms of, say, Aaron Smith-Levin. And there's a whole thing, you can see Tony Ortega's blog about it. It's a future video coming on my channel. And he was talking to another ex-Scientologist who ended up flip-flopping, going back into Scientology, I believe. And Aaron was trying to recruit this guy to put, like, say, like a disk drive thing in Scientology's computer to like hack into Scientology's computer system and get real statistics and all this stuff. His defense was like, oh, well, I wasn't actually going to do it, or follow through, or it didn't happen. It's like, yeah, but you might have done it if the guy was willing to go into Scientology's org, because the guy said, oh, I don't want to actually go through an ethics interview to be able to get back into good standing to carry out this criminal thing. So in that case, like, that's a whole nother story, but you know, Scientology will definitely use a situation like that and say, yes, that person was conspiring to commit a criminal activity. All these different suppressive people are criminals, and they're all trying to do things that are out of this world. It's like, when has Steve Mango ever gone and tried to hack Scientology's computers, or went and destroyed property, or done anything like that? Like, some of us are just honest activists who want to help people who are stuck in the traps of Scientology. We're not trying to commit criminal things, because it's like, that's not an equal playing field. If you're going to, you know, an eye for an eye, like, that's not the way to do activism, in my opinion. So this Brandon Dorf threw a brick or something through the window. Leah had him on a show, and then Scientology tried to claim, like, oh yes, because of something like Leah's show, it's inciting activities such as that, where people are getting so outraged against Scientology because of things that Leah has said and things that other people said that are completely true. I believe everything that they say on those shows, because I've experienced a lot of it myself, personally, being in Scientology. It's not that it's not true, but they're saying, like, now that it's in the public limelight and Scientology doesn't have like a way to defend itself, all these people like hate Scientology, they hate David Miscavige, they hate anything to do with the church, and then people are actually calling in bomb threats. So Scientology has said, like, yeah, they've received, I forget the exact number that they said on one of their hate websites, but say it was 86 bomb threat calls to orgs, and then they would have to obviously send police, whatever, and people get so outraged hearing these different stories that they would carry out these acts. Now, that's like saying that just because, say, someone watched my channel and then they called Scientology and they sent in a bomb threat, for example, that's not my fault. I didn't do that personally. If I said, like, go off and do it, like, that would be then my responsibility, I would think, if I'm witch hunting in that way and doing that, but I'm not. Right? So it's like, if someone else does it, maybe they have mental illness, maybe something's wrong with them, maybe they're just sinister in nature, wants to blow up an org. Like, I don't believe in doing that, obviously. That's not the way to make change in our world, is through violence or crime or criminal activity or doing things, or, like I said, an eye for an eye. So yeah, you can watch my channel. Then are you going to blame me, Scientology, because that person did that? Maybe you shouldn't be doing all these activities that get people like me on camera to talk about, because if you weren't doing criminal things, I wouldn't be on camera talking about it. I wouldn't be here saying, where's Barbara Ruiz? Where is Shelley Miscavige? You guys can see my video I did yesterday about another Scientology executive that went missing. If this stuff wasn't happening, I wouldn't have my YouTube channel. Leah wouldn't have her television show. It's not our fault if people go and attack Scientology, because that's their business, their mind. Someone else can carry out criminal activity. That doesn't mean that I'm responsible for it. You know what I mean? And the same thing with Leah. Why would Leah be responsible for something that's not her doingness, if that makes any sense? So yes, later on it came out that he was off his meds, I believe, or he was bipolar, or maybe he has different issues with his mental health, but and just because Leah had him on a show doesn't mean that she's co-signing. Some may say, but I don't believe that it means she's co-signing anything. It's just telling a story of something that happened very publicly in the media and to Scientology. I believe there was also another instance where someone drove their car into like a Scientology org, and I think that was done intentionally, where someone drove right through and like crashed through the glass of a Scientology org. Guys, this can't be happening. No matter what, if you're watching this and you hate Scientology, you don't do this to Scientology. Guys, you can protest peacefully. Some people say, like, what about Angry Gay Pope? Like, do you like how he protests? I know the Angry Gay Pope. I like him as a person, but that type of way that he goes about it may be good for shock value for other groups, but for Scientology, they're going to say this is what the true definition of an SP is. This is the type of wild nature that these people are. They're dangerous, they're sinister, and not that I think that he is, but I'm just saying that's how Scientology will view someone like the Angry Gay Pope. So that type of protesting isn't effective. Whereas when I have protested in the past, I would talk to the OTs at Big Blue, and I'd be like, and they'd say to me, well, Scientology is working for me. And I'd say, yeah, well, it's working for you, but I was a Scientologist. What about all the other people it didn't work for? What about people held against their will? Or like, what about, Lisa McPherson? Or what about this different case here? Or, well, what about, like, and you're like, if you give them like critical, like different conversations, like to go back and forth with, then you can see some of my protesting videos on my channel if you guys like that sort of stuff. You guys can hear how I do it, and I think that's the way more protesters should approach it. Hold a sign, whatever, just like the To My Loved One in Scientology Call Me with Phil and Willie Jones. That was a great message. A lot of people really, it like stung and hit close to home and meant something to them. The Scientologists like, oh, like disconnection's real, versus someone just like screaming in a mask. Like, it's not going to be as effective. But in terms of Leah stuff inciting hate, I don't believe so. So they said that because, or one of their OSA people, Ed Parkins, who I know, who I've seen at protests and other stuff, and I've talked to him since I've left Scientology at protests, in terms of me protesting. They try to do all these different tricks to get you to stop protesting. Anyways, Ed Parkin is an interesting person, to say the least, and he has an interesting sense of style. You guys might know what I'm talking about with his red suits, and I don't know, he's a very weird person. But Ed would say, like on Twitter, like, oh, the Kingdom Halls, which are the churches for Jehovah's Witnesses, were getting burned down and all this stuff, and it's because of Leah Remini's show, and Leah's inciting hate against these religions, and A&E and Disney and the different media companies, just like how they did with Going Clear. They did this with other things. They'll say Going Clear, HBO, Sheila Nevins is the president of HBO, and she's helping people to tell this horrible narrative that are affecting the lives of Scientologists. And these Scientologists need to take a stand against discrimination. Okay, Scientology, but aren't you like thinking and realizing that it's your fault? Like, you're doing these things that are making people say, it's not like this is a fictional thing where people are writing a script and going on camera saying these type of things. These are real people who are experiencing some of the worst things at the hands of your organization, and then you're going to go and spin it and say that these people are bad because they're publicizing it. So Disney, A&E, whatever, they're saying they want to boycott all those television networks and stuff, and they want to say that because of Leah and because of what she's doing, therefore Disney and all of that are allowing this to be put on their network, so they're anti-religion and they're inciting hate and all these crimes. And then, just like when there was that instance, it was in Australia, where there was a stabbing, where this kid heard his mom was on the Purif, there was some sort of drama, and he stabbed, he didn't stab the mother, he stabbed like Scientology staff members. There was something that went down, and they were saying, yep, that's because of Leah Remini's show. They blame everything on Leah to try to discredit her, and it must be really hard for her, guys, too. Like, I could only imagine being someone like her when you have the whole organization coming at you so aggressively. Like, yes, I've been fair gamed, whatever, but could you imagine, like, millions of fans, you have the media, you have your own television show, and the network is trying to support and defend against it. You have all these ex-Scientologists, other people in the world, and like everyone is talking about this, and here she is as one person leaving, trying to help people and cope with her own experience. So there's like all these different like layers of the puzzle piece, I guess, and there's layers of this that I could only imagine, like leaving and then having to deal with this organization telling me that I'm committing hate crimes, and It's not true at all. I don't believe that any of this is because of Leah's show. If people are evil intentioned, they already were. It's not that someone could make you be that way. I'm an honest, good person. No one can get me to commit a crime, even if people are saying, like, oh, Aaron Smith Levin was set up, for example, in his case, or whatever, and they're trying to do things like, okay, but I wouldn't be conspiring that to begin with. You know what I mean? And hey, you know what? People make mistakes. You know what? Apologize. I don't think he apologized for that one specifically. I think he just defended his actions. Said, well, I didn't carry out with it, so I didn't commit a crime. Yeah, but conspiring is also the crime. Anyways, you know? So, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes we have to realize that there are some people that would be willing to do criminal things against Scientology or hurt people or like do any of that sort of stuff. But I'm not willing to, and I'm an ex-member, you know what I mean? Like, there's some good, honest-hearted people, I think, out there. I'm not just saying I'm the only one. I think there's a lot of other people out there who do want to help, you know, bring down Scientology and share the messages and all this. And I want people to know and realize that, you know, people may be wondering, like, oh, is Scientology maybe truthful about some of these things they say about their ex-members? Are there hate crimes? Like, should Leah be, you know, continuing on with her series or something like that? And I think that we have to keep any of these hate websites, blogs, any of this is proof that we have to continue doing what we're doing, because it's showing what Scientology is saying that they don't do is commit. They're the ones committing the hate crimes, first and foremost. They're the ones doing things and slandering people and honest, you know, they show up to people's homes and they litter people's mailboxes saying this person that lives next door to you is a sex criminal, whatever. They're doing things that are so horrible that what church does that? What real religion, and I'm not talking about Scientology, you can even discount Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormon or any of that, and just look at a couple of the more major like religions out there. Would they go and do this? Maybe someone may claim that their church did this, but the church as a whole, like David Miscavige, the leadership is in charge of a lot of this. It's not just like the individual Scientologists, and it's also L. Ron Hubbard's policy to do these type of things to their ex-members. I think that Leah should continue and have another series of her show. I think that it's brought a lot of public interest and driven a lot of people into asking questions about Scientology. And will their tax exemption get revoked? I don't know. I don't know if it ever will be. They're too powerful of an organization right now financially, and they have a lot of control. And I think that's why they started their television network as well, even though no one watches it. It's to keep the Scientologists in and more brainwashed. But on the other hand of that, they also see and they say, well, if we talk to the media, they could spin the story and control it how they want, so they can make us look bad. If we have our television network, we can pitch our message and say what we want to say and put that all out there. And then if the media asks us for quotes, we can direct them to the TV network. They can hear it from our mouth and they can use a clip from that, but there's no way they could ask a question we don't approve of. There's no way that they could do anything that will make them look bad. So that's what I wanted to discuss with you here, guys, today. If you have other topics or things that you wanted me to discuss on my channel, leave them down in the comment section down below. I'm also curious to hear what you guys think. Do you think that Leah shows inciting hate? Do you think that these are all separate, you know, crimes and things that people are committing that don't have to do with, say, Leah show or Scientology in general? These are just independent events. I'm curious to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below. Please make sure to click that subscribe button as well and the bell icon. I'm almost at 20,000. I want to hit 100 this year. I know that would be 5 times growth. I want to see if I can do it. I don't know, but it would really help me be able to spread my message to a big audience, to be the biggest ex-Scientology channel here on YouTube. That's my goal. I want to have a platform on YouTube, kind of like what Leah has on television, so I could be a voice to others and for ex-Scientologists who are afraid to speak out, or just in general, I want to be able to help you guys learn more about what Scientology really does to its members. Give this video a thumbs up, share it on social media. At Steven Mango is my social media if you guys want to tweet or write to me or Instagram me, whatever. My email is also down below if you guys want to write to me or send any of your thoughts privately. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you on tomorrow's video. Bye, guys.